might just see this. Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
I want
to be informed.
I need to know what's happening.
To know what's going on.
Keeping you informed and up to date.
Welcome, Mr. Zuckerberg.
We didn't do enough.
War in Washington.
Center of an FBI raid.
This witch hunt.
The news and talk station for St. Louis.
Syrian President Assad's
monster.
Military at the border.
Protect this investigation.
FM News Talk 97.1.
We want to hear more.
Younger, smarter.
Every day.
It changes every day.
Better.
This hour of the Tim Jones Show is brought to you by Convergent Wealth Management, your lifelong financial advocate. ConvergentWM.com.
This is the Tim Jones Show.
Everything I was thinking of just went out the window.
It's not over because you on the nightly news said it's over.
You're talking too much logic here.
The Tim Jones Show.
The people are getting bombarded with a false media narrative.
They write the end of the story every single day, and that's all it is a story.
This is the Tim Jones Show on FM News Talk 97.1.
Believe it or not, this is Tim Jones on a Sunday night.
Good evening, Mr. Speaker. I hope you got some sleep.
All right. Yeah, welcome to the Tim Jones Show, doing double duty for the foreseeable future. Ken, great to see you, my friend.
Good to see you.
Boy, I got through the week. Let me say that. It was great having Katie Bailey, Trish Siekman, Denise Schaefer in here. But they were about as petrified as I was. And you're always cool as a cucumber, whether you show it or not. So I kind of was hoping you would just show up one day last week. But you've got a day job, too.
Right. Oh, those people, those women that were in the studio with
you,
they're amazing.
Yeah,
they're pretty amazing. They're special people.
I could not have done it without them. They tell me that I was the reason we got through the week. I don't know if that's true or not. I couldn't have been in here by myself, though. That's for sure. And I would not have wanted anybody but those three. And, of course, if Ken Williams had shown up last week, we could have all held hands together because we were just happy to get through it. And I'm gonna say this once tonight. It's a 2-hour show. It's not a 4-hour show. And I have tons to get to. And Ken reminded me I have to stay focused tonight because we have a lot to get to. And I tend to, run down rabbit holes and get segued a lot. So, but I haven't said this yet on my product here. This is my product, our product, your product, the Tim Jones Show. We're all part of it. You who are listening are part of it because some of you are a different listening audience. Some of you can't listen in the mornings. Yeah, either you go in really early or you're running around with the kids or you have a business where you don't have the luxury of having the radio on. And so maybe you just listen to me Sunday night when you're kicked back and relaxed, as I know my good friend John Stobbs is over at Convergent Wealth Management. I know he listens to me a lot. I think he listens to every show, is what he tells me. So he can do that, and that's why we're on Sunday nights, because many of you are like, whew, okay, weekend's over, got the week ahead at 7 o'clock, we've had dinner, kids are either running around outside this time of year, we're getting them ready for bed, and I'm going to pop on 97.1 and see what's on. So that's why we are live. We're live tonight, live, local, and out of the box here at 7 o'clock on a Sunday night. So, but it's the first time we've been live since the news of the week happened. And so some of you, I'm sure you all know this by now, but I feel it's my duty and responsibility to say it, to be to stand up and to be strong, continue to be strong for all of you who loved Jamie Allman over the years. What I have to say is the station has parted ways with Jamie Allman. I really can't say much more than that. There's lots. This is a personnel issue now. There are legalities involved. Don't read anything into that. It just is what it is. I'm an attorney by trade, and so this is what I would be telling people to do as well. I have the utmost confidence. That Jamie Allman, you have not heard the last of him. And I hope that's very, 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 very true. I am He, Jamie Allman, is the reason I am standing behind this microphone speaking to all of you tonight. He and Rodney Boyd, Rodney Boyd, who I interview all the time during the week, Had him on this show, too, as well. He is Jeff City expert extraordinaire. He has a show here on Sundays, Insider Talk with Rodney Boyd. And Rodney said to Jamie one day, hey, I got this young representative, new guy. I think he's going to be in leadership someday. Would you mind having him in the studio? And Jamie had a choice to make at that point. He took Rod's word that I was at least worth speaking to once. And he said, sure, have Tim Jones in the studio. And Jamie and I hit it off from that day. This is probably, 5 years ago now. This is going back to when I was either I think a sophomore representative. So this is going pretty far back because I've been out of office now, folks. We're running into 4 years of me being out of office. I know, time flies. Hate to make you feel also old. So we're all sick about the whole thing. There's not much more I can say at this point other than my heart goes out to my very best friend in the music business, my mentor, and I wish him all the best, him and his family.
Me too.
And Ken does as well. Ken's been in this business a lot longer than I have. Ken has seen things like these over the last
too many times,
many years, and I won't say how many years, Ken. So
probably 20-something.
Yeah, you're a wise radio man. So
yeah, right.
Ken's been through stations themselves, coming and going, formats coming and going, new things coming and going, people coming and going. It's just a shame that I'm not going to debate the decision by the higher-ups because I wasn't in the room. None of us really got a vote. They made the decision, and we have to stand by it. There's nothing I can do about it. But it is what it is. So I will say, though, I'm here because common sense conservative talk should not be silenced. That was my choice. Either give up, take my toys, and go home, or keep coming back in and speaking on this microphone that I am privileged to speak on. I do want to thank FM News Talk 97.1 and, yes, Intercom for allowing me to be on these airwaves. You know, I don't have a right. I don't have any, unlike the left, I know what real rights are and what fake rights are, and I don't have a right to be at this microphone. I am privileged to be at this microphone and to be able to say the things I get to say, to give you all a voice out there for the things you want to say, to explain things to you, to tie it all together, to give you the inside scoop of Jefferson City, Washington, D.C., everywhere in between, and to talk to dissenting views as well. The last thing I did on Friday, a couple of left-wing lunatics called up. I had like 2 minutes left. I found out that left-wing liberals really despise gay black conservatives. And I say that because I had Paris Denard on. Remember Paris?
Yes, I do, and I heard the conversation.
He is a gay black conservative, and he was saying that Paris sounded like me. And boy, that drove the left-wing lunatics nuts. And they started banging the phones, and one of them said, "You'll never put me on the air." And I put him on the air, and he yelled and pontificated and said, James Comey's never lied. And I didn't know what the guy was going to say. I knew he was going to say that I would never put him on the air. That's all I had on the call screening thing because he was being sneaky. And within 10 seconds, I pulled up an article from the National Review, very well respected, and I started reading him some of the lies of James Comey and the lies of omission, which we'll get into later. And I proved him wrong. And he had a fit. And then I stopped him in his tracks when I said, your problem really is that you don't like black conservatives, which in my mind makes you a racist.
I heard that, and it's so true.
Did you hear the silence?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not nice to call somebody that, is it? Especially
they do
when
it
you
all
don't,
the time.
But they
when
do it
you
all
said
the
it,
time.
When I was, as a listener, listening in my car, and I heard you say that, I was like, that's it. They do it constantly to the conservatives.
And he was probably thinking to himself, oh, well, that hurts because I'm not. And I don't assume he was. I don't know the guy from Adam. But that's what they do to us. Boy, they hate, the left-wing liberals hate when you put the shoe on the other foot.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got so much material about that tonight, so I better get to it. And how about we do Tim's Top 3?
Now, the Tim Jones Show presents
Tim's Top 3.
Could have done Tim's Top 30 tonight, but we've got first world problems. Trump strikes Syria back. I loved it. Saturday night, we got back from a little event. My wife and I flipped the TV on, and we were like, whoa, there's first world problems. That is something serious. We're going to debate that tonight. We've got Admiral Chuck Williams coming in studio in the 8 o'clock hour. He is a retired Rear Admiral of the U.S. Navy. He's been on the show before. We're going to talk about why was it important, why was it not. We'd love your phone calls on it as well.
Admiral Chuck.
That's right. That's right. Admiral Chuck in studio. Mueller mayhem. Number 2, Mueller mayhem. Comey corruption. The Nothing Burger bus rolls on. You know, they're trying to shake down Michael Cohen on something completely unrelated. I got a great article I'm going to refer you all to that shows how the Mueller investigation is off the rails. There is no Russian collusion. Comey's ego is as big as all 6'8" of him, and Mueller is running into a dead end. And number 3, Governor Greitens versus the world. Now look, we got a lot of buckets with the Governor Greitens thing. There's the impeachability factor. You know, did the House Investigatory Committee report show anything impeachable? A lot of people say no. But then there's a criminal case. Where's that going to go? But here's the third thing, and this is kind of where I fall down on, where I'm really struggling with this is, given everything we know at this point, and some of it is really rough, can he effectively lead the state? And a lot of people are saying no. Now, you know, it was like a parade this week of all the people that have been trying to, you know, lynch him since January. But, you know, I like to take things, I like to, every time something bad happens about somebody, I'm not one of these people that bowls everybody over and cross-checks them into the board so I can get to a microphone and accuse them and throw them out. Now, at this point, though, the Greitens thing is very serious. It is, you know what, I keep taking my lead from my successor, and that was Speaker Todd Richardson. Speaker Todd Richardson has, I think, been the most methodical, appropriate, reasonable actor in this whole drama. I feel bad for Speaker Todd because he came in with a scandal, not his own. His predecessor had to leave office early, and so Speaker Todd comes in, served 3 years with great distinction, got a lot of awesome things done, but here he is in his last session, and he's going to leave office having to deal with everything swirling around Governor Greitens, the criminal matter, the House Investigatory Committee, the impeachment talk, so on and so forth. So I think those are the 3 buckets there. There's the impeachability factor. There's the criminal case factor. And, you know, those seem to be still really up in the air. And that's why Speaker Todd has not himself called for a resignation request or impeachability. But here's what he said, though. He found all of the allegations in the House Investigatory Report, which was led by Jay Barnes, to be deeply disturbing. I'm not sure how anybody could not. And so my question is, given all that, given that level of distraction, given the fact that people like Congresswoman Ann Wagner, Josh Hawley, a lot of big-name, what I consider reasonable Republicans have also called for his resignation. What do? You know, you were innocent until proven guilty. Some of this is an electoral question that the voters will have to decide upon if he ever chooses to run again. But the problem is there's like 2.5 years left, and I just don't know. We've never. This is a case of first impression. We've never had to deal with this, and as you can tell, I'm struggling with it because what do you do with the guy? I mean, you don't want to, you don't want to be part of the lynch mob, but on the other hand, how do you lead the state with all this?
And from my perspective, I mean,
what do you think, Ken?
He was sort of avoiding the media when he was running, and so he doesn't have a great friendship with any of the media.
Oh yeah, they hate him. They hate him, and he's not getting a fair shake.
And not only the mainstream left media, but I mean any media. He just had. I know that from my position as a producer, I had trouble getting him on the air.
Yeah.
With our people.
Right.
So he had that relationship. Now you fast forward with this situation, and that just magnifies everything. Now there's no one there to help him.
That's exactly right. And so I don't know that I'm interested in standing in the foxhole by myself.
Right.
You know, and so that's why I've gotten to that third point of how do you lead at this point? When people don't want to be seen with you because of some of the allegations, right? I mean, it's so uncomfortable, incredibly uncomfortable, it's disturbing. As Speaker Todd Richardson said, I'm going to keep taking my lead from him. You know why? Because he knows the most. Let me get to one other thing before we're going to go to a break, and that's who's coming up next. And we've got Burgess Owens, former Oakland Raiders Super Bowl champion Burgess Owens, entrepreneur, media personality, conservative author and speaker. He's at Burgess Owens. He's going to talk to us tonight because we have our first ever Tim Jones Show live event. And if you want to talk to me about any of that tonight, Burgess, we got Admiral Chuck coming in, the Governor Greitens matter. We're going to break down the Comey thing. I've got sound on all of that and more. 314-241. That's the new number. 314-241-9797. 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797. Burgess Owens is coming to talk to us now because next Saturday night he's going to be live at View 17 at 5:30 p.m. Go to 971talk.com right now as we go to the break. Pull up our website, 971talk.com in the break. Look up the Burgess Owens event. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk to Burgess about all the week that was as well. Hey, this is Tim Jones here at the Tim Jones Show. We're live down here in the city of St. Louis, watching the sun go down here at FM News Talk 97.1.
The Tim Jones
Reclaiming my time.
This is the Tim Jones
Reclaiming my time.
On FM News Talk.
You did not respond. Let us keep going.
The Tim Jones Show.
When you're on my time, I can reclaim it. I'm reclaiming my time.
On FM News Talk 97.1.
Traffic reports at your fingertips. Real-time traffic online. Log on to 971talk.com for real-time traffic updates.
Brought to you by Deck and Patio Living. Make your backyard dreams come true. Call 890-2222.
What's happening at Diamonds Direct this weekend is off the charts. 3 days of spectacular savings store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, colored gemstones. This is incredible. You save an extra 20% and more at this once-a-year event. And the selection at Diamonds Direct is bigger than ever. Top designers have flown in their entire collections all on sale. The newest styles, plus thousands of engagement rings and wedding bands. Best prices of the year. Friday through Sunday only, and only at Diamonds Direct.
Olive and 270 at City Place.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi. I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
Well, before I left my campsite, I was putting out my fire, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear showed up and hugged me?
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. He likes it when people correctly put out their campfires. He's pretty big on wildfire prevention. He's just letting you know you did good. With a hug. He's a hugger.
I just got a bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update!
All right, I'm going to let you go now. I've got a lot of ranger stuff to do. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Hey, Tim Jones here for Convergent Wealth Management. I just mentioned John Stubbs. I'll mention Jeannie Seabaugh now because she's over there with John at Convergent Wealth Management. They're at convergentwm.com. They are at 636-536-1800. The reason I mentioned Jeannie was we were speaking this week, and she reminded me about a couple points that I've been making over the last few weeks, and just said, hey, you know, you're highlighting this stuff, and it's still very true. You know, given all this market volatility and global unrest, it's a great time to speak to Convergent Wealth Management. You know, there's been so much volatility that has just re-entered the market. We're not used to it, right? The last 8 years, it was kind of like this plodding new normal. Well, what John and Jeannie have said is we're really back to what the real normal is, and that's that, guess what? The market goes up and the market goes down, and it's more reactive to the news of the day. And so you need a portfolio that is holistic in nature, that is protected for all those ups and downs. You need to speak to John and Jeannie over Convergent Wealth Management. They'll get that portfolio in the shape it needs to be. And, hey, tax day is Tuesday. If you haven't done it, you better get in and get an extension and talk to them about how they can help you with that, too, as long as your insurance needs. 636-536-1800, Convergent Wealth Management, convergentwm.com, because they are wealth for the way.
Hey, everybody. Rachel Ray here. Nothing brings a bigger smile to my face than cooking up a big meal for the whole family and lots of friends. But there's not enough room at my table for the 17 million kids in our country who struggle with hunger. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks collects surplus food to give hope to hungry kids. But they can't do it without your help. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
What is happening
in Syria? The chemical attack
is a war crime.
Babies lying dead next to their mothers.
Horrific.
Only a monster does this.
What happens next?
The eyes,
So get ready.
of the world
Happens here.
We don't want more.
are watching.
The world is watching.
FM News Talk.
And now,
97.1.
here we are. Enough.
Younger, smarter,
It's going to happen right here.
better.
Hello, baby.
This is the Tim Jones Show. Call now, 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797.
Democrats have been very critical of James Comey, and many of us did call for his resignation.
Well, I was appalled by what Director Comey did.
Comey acted in an outrageous way.
He made a mistake. Maybe he's not in the right job.
Howard Dean, former Democratic candidate for president, says, quote, he may have destroyed the credibility of the FBI forever.
This was a very serious error in judgment.
The president ought to fire Comey immediately, and he ought to initiate an investigation.
What he did was unprecedented and outrageous, damaged the institution of law enforcement in this country.
The lowest moment in the history of the FBI.
I found it hard to believe that Comey, who I thought had some degree of integrity, would do this.
All I can tell you is the FBI director has no credibility. That's it.
Yeah, all those Republicans really cannot stand Jim Comey. Can't? Oh, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
But those are all Democrats, Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah. They love Jim Comey.
Well, do they?
Well, wait a minute. They hated Jim Comey before they loved him. Yeah, that was Maxine Waters wrapping up the montage of Chuck Schumer, Bernie Sanders, Nancy Pelosi, the whole crew talking about how Jim Comey had no credibility and should be in a different job and, shouldn't be, take him out back and, far away. So, yeah, but now they love him. Now it's Comey Fest tonight. And I don't think he has any credibility, but a guy who has a lot of credibility joins us now, the one and only Burgess Owens, who is going to join us live here in St. Louis next Saturday, April 21st at View 17, the site of my day job, my weekday job. Beautiful event venue over there, sponsored by the Tim Jones Show, MoveOnUp.org, which is our own Chris Arps, and The Weekend Report, which is Chris Arps, Tony Colombo, and Katie Bailey. Joining us is the author of his own book, Liberalism, or How to Turn Good Men into Whiners, Weenies, and Wimps, Super Bowl champ Burgess Owens. Burgess, thanks for joining us again tonight.
Tim, looking forward to chatting with you for sure, and look forward to spending some time with you guys this weekend. Absolutely.
Yeah, so folks, I hear the VIP tickets, seriously, we're not just saying this to finish up the rest of the ticks, but they really are about gone. So folks, you need to go to 971talk.com/events tonight. I urge you to do that. It's very simple. Bought some for some of my family and friends, and we want to fill it up with all of you in the listening audience as well. Burgess is a great speaker. I've interviewed him, I've been part of interviews with him many times. He's got a great book. He's going to sign for you. VIP tickets are only $30. General admission are only $20. It's a great venue. We got a bar. We're going to have some snacks, and Burgess will wow all of us with his insight. So hey, Burgess, let's get to
Tim,
yeah. Go ahead.
Tim, can I add to that?
Yes, sir.
I'm bringing enough pictures to sign personally for those who are VIP. So please join us. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'll make sure that you get a personalized picture of the days when my body used to respond the way you should have been.
Well, Burgess, you still look pretty darn good to me, I'll tell you. You do a good job keeping yourself in shape. I know how it is, man, when you're on the road and you're not eating right, you don't get to exercise as much, but I think you're doing fine. So Burgess, tonight, of course, the liberal media they're probably running nonstop telethons on how great Jim Comey is and what an upstanding public servant he is. But, Burgess, here's a guy who he's a proven liar through his own words, but yet the media holds him up as the new poster boy to combat the evil President Donald Trump.
I think what we have to recognize, and I think Americans are waking up to this, the liberal, the left, Marxists and socialists are not logical. It's all emotion. They have no shame. So they don't mind telling you whatever it takes to get you to believe in them, whether it's true or not. So if you start off with that premise, just understand that everything they say turns out to be a lie. And that's why they spend so much time talking about it. So let's just focus on the fact that there are going to be some things coming out pretty soon. At the end of the day, it comes down to this whole charade that has been going through for this last year and a half has been just that. And I think that there's going to be a lot of accountable people who's going to be paying a price for the next few years, and I look forward to that happening in a big way.
You know, Burgess, I give you a lot of credit because not only do you have to deal with the regular abuse that all of us do, who speak out and commentate like we do here on this station, but you get the extra bonus, right, of people who attack you because of the color of your skin, right? How dare you be a black conservative? And I'm looking at your Twitter timeline, and I see here Prager University. There's a story here. Former NFL star and conservative commentator Burgess Owens was heckled and shouted down by students for allegedly speaking, quote, against his own people. So you, Guy Benson, Ann Coulter, you're that famous fraternity of folks who cannot exercise your First Amendment rights any longer.
Well, and what I'm finding out, this is something that we as a country really need to address. We've had within our society for a long time these ideological termites. Marxists and socialists have been weaving their way into our foundation of education. We need to do something about that. I think we did a great job, Tim, when it came down to the NFL. We showed as Americans that we care more about our country than we care about these teams. What alumni need to do, college alumni across the country, need to start taking a look at if their college is still teaching the American way. If not, let's not stop donating to them. I could care less about my alumni, my alma mater, if they're not going to continue to promote the concept that I grew up in when I came through there. So we need to turn the tide because these guys are truly turning our kids out into these little Marxists with no way of being successful when they get out in the real world.
Speaking to Burgess Owens, former Super Bowl champ and current author, commentator, spokesperson for the Movement of Freedom. You know, Burgess, when you're out speaking to folks, whether they're black, white, Hispanic, whatever they might be, what is your message to them as to why conservatism is Americanism? Like, what is it for? How do you translate that to all of the people, especially maybe some minority groups who feel the Democrats sit around and they promise them stuff, and we'll give you this and we'll give you that. What is the conservative message give to people?
That's a question, and I'll tell you, it comes down to really the concept of this is the place of second chances, and I've been very fortunate. I've had a chance to play NFL. I've been in a corporate environment. I've had my own business. But the most important and valuable job that I ever had in my life was 7 years after the NFL when I failed in business. And for about 2 or 3 months, I was a security guard and I was a chimney sweep.
Wow.
Now, why is that important? Because when I was going through that, I knew that I was in a country that allowed me to have another shot at it. I worked my way out of it. And I felt so confident and faithful it was going to work out. And it has. That's the message. And I love the fact I will never want to go back to that again. But I can now tell kids when I talk to them, if I can do it, you can do it. It's not NFL. It's a chimney sweep that they're now listening to. If that person can rise up and make it happen by the same traditional American values, then anybody can do it. But the problem we're having, I'm finding out, that these kids coming out of college now, some of these Marxists, do not want to hear the message, if I can do it, you can do it. They're angry by telling them that they're special enough to overcome everything because they want to find a way to believe that their failure is somebody else's fault, and they feel comfortable with that. That is the greatest insult I can think of by the past generations of Americans, black and white. You need to get past that and start getting the right narrative out there.
Speaking of Burgess Owens, he's at Burgess Owens on Twitter. His bio there says it all and more. Former Oakland Raiders Super Bowl champ, entrepreneur, media personality, conservative, author, and speaker. We have an event with him next Saturday here in St. Louis. Tony Colombo, Chris Arps, MoveOnUp.org. me, the Tim Jones Show, all of you. We want you to be there. He's going to bring his book. He's going to bring some great photos. Sell out those VIPs, folks. Actually, I should say go get them because they're about to sell out. And if those run out, the $20 for general admission is awesome. The place is spectacular, Burgess. You're really going to enjoy the view of View 17 up there on the 17th floor, kind of in our mid-county area. Burgess, I noticed that you just mentioned second chances, and I heard a quick story the other day. You'll have to fill me in a little bit, but it sounds like Colin Kaepernick was given a second chance, or maybe his third or fourth or fifth chance, and I think he's still causing trouble out there. I'm not a huge. I'm a sports fan, and I'm not a sports nut, but I love hockey. I used to play hockey. I used to run, cross country. I love golf. I love baseball. I love football. But I was really, like a lot of other Americans, I had a tough time finding time to watch the NFL the last couple of years because of everything that's been going on. And so Colin Kaepernick, here he is, multimillionaire star, professional football athlete. He made it, and it's like he's turning his back on all of it because he doesn't want to respect our flag.
Well, Colin is a good example of what we're talking about the college, the environment that we're sending our kids to. He's just the tip of the iceberg because we have too many of our kids coming out as diehard Marxists. He doesn't understand our country. He does not respect our flag, does not respect anything we've done. And he'll go out to Cuba and talk about Fidel Castro because they've been taught that that's where the real heroes are. Well, Colin is clueless. He's gotten a second chance to go out and play with the team. He decided he's going to pass on that because for some reason he believes he's going to be okay. I can promise you this. He's going to run through his money before he knows it. He's going to talk another 5 to 6 years from now, and he's going to be a really sad case for someone who regrets the mistakes he made and the money he lost. And that's what the socialists and leftists do. They use, they abuse, and they discard. They will continue to do that with all our kids. And these guys who stood up and made this big issue, this anti-flag issue, many of them will not be playing in the NFL this year because the NFL recognizes now they don't want him anymore. They don't need him anymore. So it's going to be sad to see it, but we need to teach our kids about free market, about Judeo-Christian values, and if we get that message out, we'll have a lot less of the Colin Kaepernicks out there.
Speaking tonight to Burgess Owens, at Burgess Owens, former Oakland Raiders Super Bowl champ entrepreneur, current entrepreneur, media personality, conservative, author, and speaker. He's coming to St. Louis next Saturday. We want you all to join us. Hey, Burgess, I'll give you open mic here for our last topic. As you're traveling the country, which I know you do, speaking to all different kinds of people from all different walks of life, different socioeconomic backgrounds, races, ethnicities, people who have made it, people who are still trying to make it, what are you focusing on? What topics of the day are you focusing on? Maybe give us a little. Don't give the whole speech. Don't give the whole speech away. Save some of the brilliance for next Saturday. But maybe some teasers for folks about what you might be discussing.
If I could say this, being an American, we all experience the same obstacles, the same opportunities, the same desire for hope. And at the end of the day, it's the lessons we go through, the good and bad, that make us the country we are. When I think about the Oakland Raiders, the days when I grew up, when I came through, Al Davis was a genius because he believed in the American way. He believed in not looking at the outside, but the heart and the character and the guts that he brought to that team. And whether they had trouble on other teams or not, didn't matter. As long as they shared up and played the game and won, just win, baby, they were going to be part of his organization. That's the American way. We're all about just win, baby. As long as we know that we're in a fight, we know that we have goals and dreams. We're now in a fight, guys, for the soul and heart of our country. We need to understand and educate ourselves and fight against the socialists, atheists, and Marxists that is undermining our country by destroying the hopes and dreams of our kids. If we understand that, fight for our kids once again. Do not fund these colleges and these teams or whatever else that are against our American way. Just take away their dollars, and they'll begin to wake up and smell the roses and get their act together.
Hey, Burgess, I wouldn't be a good interviewer if I didn't ask you one thing about the book, too. I love the title. It's Liberalism, or How to Turn Good Men into Whiners, Weenies, and Wimps. And, Burgess, I got to say, you were ahead of the curve on this entire discussion because, just this last couple weeks, Tucker Carlson was highlighting this very same subject. And it is a problem, right? I mean, patriarchy is not a bad thing, just like matriarchy is not a bad thing. And we see it, don't we, especially in the inner urban areas where single moms a lot of times get left holding the bag with the kids and no help. And the Democratic Party comes in and says, oh, we'll just give you some more welfare. And the welfare takes the place of dad and of workfare. And that has now, I think, gone even beyond the inner urban communities. And it's become a problem in all communities where men are told that, their role isn't as important anymore. And I think that is a real issue. And I bet you that's what you focus on in your book.
Oh, it's no question. The family unit is what's made our country the great country it is. But that's the fabric of who we are. And what they did with the black community is they destroyed that family unit back in 1960. They're trying to do the same thing with our country today. And I stood up at a college and talked about my proud of being a patriarch of my family, to guide, direct, protect, and lead my family. And I was called a sexist. So you get an idea. My own comment to that young man is I'm so glad that my daughter decided not to marry a guy like that, because we need to have real men stand up again, be proud of who they are, protect and respect our women. We do that, then our country will be the great country, because our women will drive and direct and guide our men, our boys and girls to be the great people they are, as long as we edify them, support them, and to respect them. We put that together as a team. The men and women of this country will bring this country back in a big way. We need to understand our part in getting that done.
Well, Burgess, it was a delight to speak with you as always. We got through a lot there, as we always do. And folks, if that doesn't give you a taste of coming to speak to a great orator, I don't know what does. He'll be here live in St. Louis next Saturday evening at 5:30 p.m. at View 17. The great Burgess Owens. He's at Burgess Owens on Twitter. Follow him. You'll enjoy it. Burgess, I enjoyed speaking with you as always. I'm looking forward to seeing you live in person next week.
Cam, it's going to be great to catch up with all my friends on the radio that I've been talking with over the years. I really look forward to hanging out with you guys, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So everybody show up. We're going to have a great time.
Thanks, Burgess. See you soon, my friend. Travel safe. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah, the great Burgess Owens. Fantastic.
He's awesome.
He's awesome, and he can.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see him next week. Folks, you can too. I'll keep telling you the rest of the night. Just go to 971talk.com /events, maybe / just /events. You can find it there. The Burgess Owens event, you can just Google that. Burgess Owens 971 Talk. It'll pop right up. Liberalism, how to turn good men into whiners, weenies, and wimps. We got none of that here. We don't stand for it. Here at the Tim Jones Show on FM News Talk 97.1.
Hey, waitress! Look at her, man. You got any specials here tonight? Me and the fellas might be interested in. What's that?
This is the Tim Jones Show on FM News Talk 97.1, 98.7, and AM 1490. Or streaming live at 971talk.com and the 97.1 mobile app.
Tony Colombo here, inviting you to join MoveOnUp.org and 97.1 as we welcome author and former NFL great Burgess Owens to View 17 on Saturday, April 21st, hosted by the Tim Jones Show and the Weekend Report with Chris Arps and me. Get details and win free tickets at 971talk.com.
Well, you felt it all winter. Now maybe you're going to regret not getting those drafty windows replaced. Tim Jones here for Universal Windows Direct. I've been telling you about these guys because of their high-quality windows that are going to save you money by making your home more energy efficient, totally custom to you, so they're definitely going to make your home more beautiful as well. They've got this patented super spacer technology I've been telling you about for a long time now. Check it out. Designed by NASA to create a better seal on your windows so they last longer and perform better. They've done such an amazing job. Universal Windows Direct got awarded the Angie's List Super Service Award for their quality and service. Do not keep suffering with those drafty windows. Been telling you over and over again to call my guys at Universal Windows Direct. This great offer. Every window you buy, you get the next window free. There's no limits. 0% financing for 36 months and free installation backed up by that true lifetime warranty for as long as you own your home to the next homeowner as well. Call today for your free in-home estimate, 314-878-0300, 314-878-0300. Go to universalwindowsstlouis.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to ditch the car and start rollerblading to work.
I look ridiculous.
You look ridiculous!
You don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your organs on the black market.
Lie back. This is gonna hurt.
Yeah, that hurts.
You don't need to rent out your apartment to drifters.
I made a fire with the wood in your bedroom.
That's my dresser!
And your closet door.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell all your belongings and live in a commune.
These dungarees belong to all of us now, Tom.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Curtis Stone. Now, I've cooked a lot of food in my day. Steaks, salads, pasta, seafood, chicken, soup, sandwiches. I mean, you name it, and I've prepared it thousands of times. But even I can't cook enough to feed all of the 17 million kids in America struggling with hunger. That's 1 out of every 5 children. Now, luckily, there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food produced right here in America to feed every last one of those hungry kids. The only problem is getting it to them. That's where the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks comes in. They gather up surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families all across the country. We call them food angels, and you can be a food angel too. Come on, earn your wins by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
When is the best time to talk to your family about staying in touch during a disaster? When floodwaters reach your door? When wildfires are engulfing the edge of your neighborhood? Or an earthquake is destroying buildings? When a tornado is tearing through town? Or a hurricane strikes? Or is the best time perhaps today? During a disaster, you may not be able to stay in touch with your family or friends as easily as you think. And it's not always as simple as using your cell phone. That's why now is the time to take action. Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey, St. Louis, it's Brian Kilmeade with a reminder to join me each weekday morning from 9 till noon as we cover the biggest and hottest news of the day. We'll even mix in some fun. Kilmeade and Friends, weekdays at 9 a.m. on FM News Talk 97.1.
This hour of the Tim Jones Show is brought to you by Convergent Wealth Management, your lifelong financial advocate. ConvergentWM.com.
I know I'm probably better off on my own than loving a man who didn't know what he had when he had it. And I see the permanent damage you did to me. Never again, I just wish I could forget when it was magic.
This is the Tim Jones Show. Call now, 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797.
The melodious pipes of Little Big Town.
Sweet.
Ken and I are watching an award show over our shoulders here.
No, we're not. We are doing a radio show.
Well, we are, but
now you just called us out.
I'm surrounded by televisions in here. There's not a whole lot to watch on cable news on Sunday night. Although, you know what I will listen to on the way home? Life, Liberty, and Levin.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You caught Levin show, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So, folks, if you haven't listened to, and of course we are a Fox News Radio affiliate here at FM News Talk 97.1 KFTK. You can listen to that too after the Tim Jones Show. Yeah, Life, and Levin is on. Levin is on 97.1. He wraps up the evening after Hannity. So anyway, we were just commenting that there's only one award show really worth watching these days, and that's the American Country Music Awards. And Ken was saying, yeah, if they started trashing the president and the American way of life, that whole industry would probably not exist anymore because there's actually patriots, that listen to ACM. I'm not saying there's not to listen to other. I don't just listen to country music, as you know. I just played Van Halen, and I listen to all kinds of music, as you know. I've got a very eclectic taste, but I do like me some country as well. I kind of grew up on it. My dad's a big country music fan. Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash.
I love all types of music. Stern and Meta violin concertos.
Exactly.
I play piano, so.
See, you like real music. I should say. My daughters play. They both. I can't wait till they're both. Abby's just kind of learning, and Katie's been doing it for like 5 years now, and so Katie's really good. I love listening to Katie play the violin.
Keep them on it. It's
so
awesome.
good.
Yeah.
And Suzanne plays the violin. Their mother, my wonderful wife.
Wow.
My wife's much smarter than me. I never played an instrument, Ken. I never I always wanted to, and I just never had time. I guess that's a bad excuse, but I can still learn the piano, right?
You can still learn, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, I have a musical family. I love music. So all the rest, everybody else in the house, even the cat's probably more musical than I am. So as far as talent, but you'd love to hear me sing in the shower. So yeah. So the ACMs are on. If you're busy listening to me, which I hope you are, they'll replay them. Don't worry, they'll be on over and over again. But we thought I'd play it. So Lady Antebellum was playing when we were in the commercial break, and Little Big Town. I just played you some Little Big Town because Little Big Town is up for some awards. Lady Antebellum is. Luke Bryant. What's her face makes a big debut back tonight. Carrie Underwood.
What's her face? Oh yeah,
she hurt her face. Did you know that?
Yeah, I heard something.
50
about that.
stitches.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she's already performed or if that's later. But Carrie Underwood had a weird accident. She twisted her ankle or something, or her leg, and then she cut her face and all this gory type detail. But I saw a photo of her. She looks great. So she's probably going to come out and everybody will clap and cry and it'll be wonderful. So yeah, this is a great music award show.
Yeah.
But turn it on in the background. Leave the sound down because I'll sing to you instead. So Ken's like, please don't. Hey, later on in the show, isn't Burgess Owens great?
Awesome.
Folks, come see him next week. We're going to pack the place, and it won't, View 17 is a big venue. It's part of the First Rule Media Network, which is my other career, my daytime career, my full-time job. Thank you to my CEO, Travis Brown, for letting me be on the radio so much this last week. I'm going to be on the morning show all this week. So if you haven't heard enough of me tonight, you're not sick of me, 5 a.m. I'll be back here talking to you all week. There is no plan yet that has been told to me. I don't know what's going to happen in the morning show. I'm helping until they figure that all out. Nothing has been asked of me yet beyond this next week, so I'm happy to do it. I hope you all have been enjoying it. We have a great lineup this week, and tonight we've got great stuff still ahead. Admiral Chuck Williams joins us in the 8 o'clock hour. He was Missouri Veterans for Trump. He still stays very connected up in D.C. He's going to talk to us about the Syria strikes. And I am so happy that Admiral Chuck actually reached out to me on a Saturday. There is a man of God, honor, and country, and he reached out to me on a Saturday and said, Tim, I can talk Syria, just like an admiral would. Tim, I can talk Syria tomorrow. I said, yes, sir, you are on the show. So Rear Admiral, my very good friend, Admiral Chuck Williams, will be in to talk about that, and we'll talk about international stuff in general. We probably, before I forget, should do, because there was so much of it this week, a little media malpractice.
Now, the Tim Jones Show presents...
Someone believes some fake news story.
Especially by the media.
This is very dangerous to America.
They're corporatist, globalist media.
Media malpractice.
I think that it's aptly titled. One of the things we see in this book is a guy who's like, frankly, a lot of people who work in government in Washington as part of the career civil service, that their loyalty is not to red and blue, and we're used to covering politics as a red and blue tribal war. But their loyalty is to their profession, to their agency, to their institution, to some other set of standards. And they get in the middle of red-blue fights, and they probably have their own personal opinions. But Comey seems to be a guy who has loyalties to other things. And he's offended Democrats mightily. He's offended the Republican president mightily. And I think he passes the smell test by and large.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think he's honest that it's quite possible Donald Trump did not do anything criminal here, but did do something mafioso-like. And that's frankly not a completely new revelation.
So that's David Brooks, the self-proclaimed, described, he's the only one who thinks he is a Republican, but that's who the New York Times has on staff to deliver the Republican message to the world.
The smell test, his olfactory glands must be all screwed up.
Yeah, he must have a cold. And then did you hear what he said, though, Ken, near the end? He said that David Brooks said, and it's the first time I've heard a never-Trumper, a Trump hater, say, I don't think he's done anything criminal, referring to the president. There was that little throwaway line in there from David Brooks. The ship is turning on this whole thing because we're 17 months in, and there's no Russian collusion. Nothing burger. That's why Mueller's now rating random attorneys of Donald Trump on random things. And let me tell you, that raid of Cohen had nothing to do with the Mueller investigation. And I'll tell you that I believe, I'm trying to remember who agreed with me. Oh, Congressman Gowdy. And I'll play that for you later because I want you to hear Tucker Carlson. So that was the David Brooks analysis. Here is the Tucker Carlson analysis.
Top G-man, or was? He sounds like every other sensitive, guilt-ridden, middle-aged suburban liberal. Not impressive at all. Maybe that's why Comey did not hesitate before destroying any remaining public trust in the FBI in order to sell this book. FBI directors are not supposed to let emotion and political considerations influence government investigations, but Comey doesn't even hide it. He admits his behavior in the fall of 2016 may have been colored by his desire to make Hillary Clinton, quote, a legitimate president. So that settles that. There's now nobody in either party, Republican or Democrat, who will ever again think the Clinton investigation was conducted fairly. Thanks, Jim Comey. Or the Russia investigation, for that matter. Here's what Comey told ABC about that. Watch.
Did you tell him that the Steele dossier had been financed by his political opponents?
No, I didn't even think I used the term Steele dossier. I just talked about additional material.
But did he have a right to know that?
That had been financed by his political opponents?
Yes.
I don't know the answer to that. It wasn't necessary for my goal, which was to alert him that we had this information.
Telling the truth, says Jim Comey, quote, wasn't necessary for my goal. Apparently it wasn't. Whatever else you think about Donald Trump or his administration or whatever, you ought to be happy that that guy, Jim Comey, is no longer running the FBI.
Yeah, his goal of being a liar. Just an absolute liar. I mean, there's some great articles on Real Clear Politics today. RealClearPolitics.com. One is like, you know what got in the way of Jim Comey? Jim Comey's ego. And it lays it all out for you, as we've been doing tonight on The Tim Jones Show. We'll continue to do so. Rear Admiral Chuck Williams back right after this, so keep it right here.
The Tim Jones Show.
Does one of us have to come out alive?
On FM News Talk 97.1.
We're here from 1-800-GOT-JUNK to clean out your garage.
How did you get here so fast?
I'll open the garage door.
Follow me, guys.
Yes, sir.
You sure you can handle it?
Zero problem, sir.
The radio ads say all we have to do is point.
The radio speaks the truth, ma'am. Give it a try.
Can you fight your way to that refrigerator back there? It's gone.
Now it's my turn, honey. I've really been dreading trying to move that big... I would never have believed it.
Can you take that big pile of...
Do you have anything in the attic or the backyard you'd like to make disappear?
Follow me. How about... And could you take...
How do you guys do that?
It's gone. It's all gone.
All you have to do is point.
Goodbye, junk. Hello, relief. I love this job. Me too.
I never knew our garage was so big.
Wait till you see the backyard.
Just call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think you would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey, is that a faucet running?
Nope, that's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest.
It is?
Yeah, forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink. The water comes straight from the forest to us. In fact...
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
How do trees clean the air?
They soak up the dirty air on their leaves, branches, and trunks, which means clean air for us.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yep, but the forest does more than give us clean air and water. It gives us shade for hot days, birds to listen to, and trees to climb.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't know how cool the forest could be. Hey, let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, Go to Discover the Forest.
KFTK FM, Florissant. KFTK AM East St. Louis. K254CR St. Louis.
Powered by Window World.
FM News Talk 97.1.
A former First Lady in failing health. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News. Barbara Bush no longer seeking medical treatment.
Treatment for the 92-year-old will now focus on what's being called comfort care, as the former First Lady has reportedly suffered from a series of hospitalizations for lung disease and congestive heart failure. She married former President George H.W. Bush back in 1945. They have been married longer than any other presidential couple in American history. She's said to be surrounded by family and appreciates any kind messages or prayers.
Fox's Tom Graham, and she's getting those from the White House. A statement tonight saying President Trump and the First Lady's prayers are with the Bush family during this time. Meanwhile, President Trump on Twitter has less than pleasant thoughts about his old FBI director.
He called him slippery, James Comey, a man who always ends up badly and out of whack. He's not smart. Will go down as the worst FBI director in history by far.
Fox's Kevin Corke at the White House. Comey's interview with ABC's George Stephanopoulos airing tonight. He discussed the thought process behind reopening the Hillary Clinton email probe days before the election.
I was operating in a world where Hillary Clinton was going to beat Donald Trump. And so I'm sure that it was a factor. Like I said, I don't remember spelling it out, but it had to have been that she's going to be elected president. And if I hide this from the American people, she'll be illegitimate the moment she's elected.
Clinton blaming Comey's actions in part for her loss. Russia paying a price for supporting the Assad regime in Syria. The U.S. planning to announce new sanctions on Moscow tomorrow. American Ambassador to the UN Nikki Haley on CBS's Face the Nation.
I think one thing that we hope Assad got the message on is the international community will not allow chemical weapons to come back into our everyday life. And the fact that he was making this more normal and that Russia was covering it up, all of that has to stop.
Russia denies a chemical attack took place. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather.
The official FM News Talk 97.1 Weather Center forecast calls for it to be brisk and colder tonight. Clouds will linger in the low will be 38. Cloudy tomorrow with some spotty drizzle. Brisk and cold for mid-April with the high just 43. Clearing brisk and cold tomorrow night, low 26 to 30. Sunny but still brisk and chilly for Monday. We'll have a high near 50. Warm up will start Tuesday. I'm meteorologist Frank Strait for FM News Talk 97.1.
Hi, I'm Kelly Clarkson, and I've toured the country dozens of times, and there's one thing every state has in common: childhood hunger. The sad truth is that 17 million kids don't know where their next meal is coming from, or if it's even coming at all. Yet there are billions of pounds of surplus food around the country at farms and warehouses that could help end this injustice. But all that food is useless if it doesn't get where it needs to go. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids before it goes to waste. But they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank. Find out how at feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together we're Feeding America.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Layla Ali. I might be undefeated in professional boxing, but there's one problem even I can't fight alone: childhood hunger. Over 17 million kids in America may not know where their next meal is coming from. That's 1 in 5 children. Yet billions of pounds of surplus food produced right here in America just get thrown out every year. That's more than enough to feed every last hungry child. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids before it goes to waste. But they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by going to feedingamerica.org. Together we can knock out hunger. Together we're Feeding America.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions, brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I opened a 401k.
So you're giving up? Just like that?
Giving up on what?
On getting an inheritance from a distant relative.
Don't you think if there were a billionaire in the family, we'd know about it by now?
Listen to me. We are one phone call away from riding horses on our own private polo grounds. One call from christening yachts, having a butler, using summer as a verb.
How do you figure?
Look, everyone's got a rich uncle somewhere. It's statistics. So the best thing you can do is just prepare for the inevitable.
Right, which is why I thought maybe it would be smart to take control of my finances. You know, start using a budget, get out of debt, set some retirement goals.
Budgets? Debt? You watch your mouth. Retirement shouldn't be a goal for us. It should be a way of life.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Trending on FM News Talk 97.1.
I ordered the United States Armed Forces to launch precision strikes on targets associated with the chemical weapons capabilities of Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad.
Stay connected.
Hearing information that chemical weapons facilities are being targeted.
Nations of Britain, France, and the United States of America have marshaled their righteous power against barbarism and brutality.
FM News Talk 97.1. Younger, smarter, better.
This hour of the Tim Jones Show is brought to you by Convergent Wealth Management, your lifelong financial advocate. ConvergentWM.com.
This is the Tim Jones Show.
There's a lot of people that have to live their lives like you, John, and work really hard and raise a family. And I'm guessing you're probably doing some or all these things.
Right on the mark. The Tim Jones Show.
You really don't know what you're talking about right now.
All right.
What he is doing brings tears to the eyes of the Statue of Liberty.
Thanks for being on the air for us. Got a great show.
This is the Tim Jones Show on FM News Talk 97.1.
Americans are dreamers too.
Good evening this evening. Welcome to the Tim Jones Show. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Spending the rest of what's left of your weekend with us as we wrap up the week, prepare you for the week ahead here on FM News Talk 97.1. I'll be back. They're gonna lock me in a closet tonight and put an IV in me, I guess. I'll be back at 5:10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Poor to DJ, Mr. Speaker.
I may be up before Admiral Williams even, maybe. Who we're going to have on here next, coming up here in a few minutes. He's making his way in the studio. We'll talk to him for a segment or two about Syria and beyond. We had some first world news, as I said this weekend, that had nothing to do with Stormy Daniels, thank God. But the media, that doesn't stop the media from breaking into their coverage on covering real world events like, madman maniacs gassing their own citizens committing genocidal terror, to talk about the latest whatever from a consensual relationship with a porn star or not, whatever happened there. I really don't care. 10 years ago. And you know what? The Democrats told us 20 years ago, 25, that we shouldn't care. We should not care about things, right, Ken? They told us that back in the 90s.
Yes.
They wrote the
should
playbook.
Not look the other way.
Yes.
He's the president. He's not your priest.
And that was when Clinton was in office. Nothing they're talking, not even the fake Russian collusion, which didn't happen.
He was behind the desk in the Oval Office.
Clinton was, yes. Yes. So nothing Donald Trump has done in the last 16 months almost 17 months in office has anything to do with all of this mud and dirt and crud that's been slung at him. It's stuff that happened either in the case of fake Russian collusion, which didn't happen, back in the campaign, and we all know what that's all about. If you haven't figured this out by now, I'm actually taking my family up to New York City this summer, and where I spent 10 years of my life. And I will take you can come with me, and I'll sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. Because the Russian collusion story is a fake smokescreen that has been propped up to hide the deep state shenanigans of the unholy trinity of Clapper, Brennan, and Comey. It's all about hiding what they were part and parcel of back during the campaign, the FBI, Brennan and Clapper, of weaponizing the intelligence agencies to wiretap and spy on an American citizen. So anyway, that's what that's all about. Before I bring Admiral Chuck in here, I want to wrap up this issue of Jim Comey. And here is a liberal, Alan Dershowitz, a true liberal, a classic liberal, an ACLU liberal before the ACLU became a ridiculous organization. This is a liberal that the left these days loves to hate. Alan Dershowitz, Harvard law professor, emeritus. Here's Dershowitz talking about what he thinks about Jim Comey.
Things that Comey has said and written since he left the FBI confirm the decision to fire him from the FBI.
No, it should have been done much, much earlier. It should have been done on the day of the inauguration, and it should have reflected itself in the fact that nobody should ever have appointed him to be head of the FBI. This is a man who is revenge-driven, who is prepared to leak through a law professor at Columbia, who is prepared to disclose confidential conversations he had with the president-elect and the president of the United States. He's exactly the wrong person to have headed the most important law enforcement agency in the United States. This sends a horrible message to FBI agents and law enforcement people about leaking and about confidences and about trying to keep emotion out of law enforcement and politics out of law enforcement. To me, the worst part of it is when he both compares the president to a mob boss, which proves my point of trumped up, that you can create crimes out of almost anything and call a mob boss somebody who's running the presidency of the United States. And
yeah, mob boss. I mean, there is a great article I wanted to direct you all to. Go to realclearpolitics.com, okay? Go to realclearpolitics.com. Generally, Real Clear Politics, I go to it because I want to look at both sides. They usually go back and forth. They have a list every day. They're kind of like it's the deeper dive of the Drudge Report, right? It gets deeper into the analysis of the issues of the day. And there is a great article on here. It's actually published on CNN's site, of all things. CNN sometimes shocks me when they actually put things on that are against their, I want to say against their will. It's like, did somebody strap the producer in the chair and they got this up on their website? James Comey's ego has a lot to answer for. It's a great article. It's an opinion piece, but it's very factual in basis with the things he refers to. Rob Crilly of I guess he's a CNN contributor. I guess he's a conservative CNN contributor. And here's the lead. Here's the lead of this, which I think is fantastic. Here you would think he was talking about, perhaps if you were a lefty, you would think perhaps he was talking about somebody else. So here's the lead. An out of control ego, intent on promoting its own interests, with no regard for the usual norms and conventions, dishes the dirt with cheap shots at opponents and boorish jokes about their personal appearance. In so doing, it diminishes the standing and the status of one of America's great institutions, risking deadly confrontation and a spiral into war. No, you left-wing lunatics, they're not talking about the president, because the next line is, yes, James Comey's ego has a lot to answer for. It's a great article. It's called James Comey's ego has a lot to answer for. Published on CNN's opinion page. I'm shocked they let it through, but it's there. The other thing the left is all excited about this week is the Mueller probe seems to have devolved into everything but its original intention. And a lot of people were confused in left-wing liberal mainstream media world about this Cohen raid. And they're like, oh, it's going to be all about he's going after Cohen because he's going after Trump about Russian collusion. Well, no, he's not, because Mueller kicked that over to a different non-partisan neutral arbiter, a judge and the attorney general in New York. So Mueller said, I'm not going to handle this, and he kicked it over. So no, it has nothing to do with Russian collusion. So you can all calm down. And it's not just me saying that. Congressman Trey Gowdy, a former federal prosecutor, explains to you why what I just said is true.
Well, here's what we know. We know a neutral, detached federal magistrate had to sign off on the search warrant. We know that it requires the highest levels of DOJ permission to seize attorney-client records. And by that, I mean the attorney general or the deputy attorney general. And we also know it must have nothing to do with Bob Mueller's probe, either directly or indirectly, or he would not have referred it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's the legalities of that. That's how that all happened. That's why it all happened. So for all of you getting excited, like Saturday Night Live had a cold open last night, and it was funnier than they've been in the past. It was on, the TV was on, so we just kind of watched it. We went out on Friday night, so I can't do 2 nights in a row anymore. Ken, we're getting a little older, but maybe wiser.
Yeah.
Anyway,
definitely.
so Suzanne and I were home. We were doing stuff, and it was just on. It was like, it was kind of funny. It had Ben Stiller and De Niro on, and they're all, but they're confusing, of course, because don't get your news from Saturday Night Live, okay? It's supposed to be funny. It's not supposed to be real news, okay? That is fake news, all right? To tie the Mueller investigation to this raid on Cohen, I'm sorry. You don't even have to be an attorney to know that there's no connection there. That's why he kicked it over. So anyway, the biggest news of the weekend, and we've got Admiral Chuck Williams here, a Missourian. He's in studio again, joined us again. The biggest news of the weekend, of course, was the president of it was the United States, France, and the UK taking some additional decisive action against Assad and Syria. And they launched a huge missile strike, I think over 100 missiles, on Saturday night. Friday night. Friday night, right. We got home. That's right. We were out Friday night. We got home Friday night, flipped the TV on. All of a sudden, I was expecting to see nothing on, and there's Damascus lit up at night and tracer fire and missiles. And so here we are. I listened to Nikki Haley's full interview today on Chris Wallace. And this was some testimony that was replayed during that, but also this was her testimony for the UN on this issue.
Today's military action, our message was crystal clear. The United States of America will not allow the Assad regime to continue to use chemical weapons. Last night, we obliterated the major research facility that it used to assemble weapons of mass murder. I spoke to the president this morning, and he said if the Syrian regime uses this poisonous gas again, the United States is locked and loaded. When our president draws a red line, our president enforces the red line. The United States is deeply grateful to the United Kingdom and France for its part in the coalition to defend the prohibition of chemical weapons. We worked in lockstep. We were in complete agreement. Last night, our great friends and indispensable allies shouldered a burden that benefits all of us. The civilized world owes them its thanks.
Admiral Chuck Williams joins us in studio now for the Tim Jones Show. And Admiral, boy, I think once and for all we know that the era of Barack Obama's strategic patience is over, and I say thank God.
Well, we had a red line, and if people recall that, when that red line happened, he didn't act. Within about a year, Putin saw weakness, and then he moved into Syria, and he also moved into Crimea. And Putin's a street fighter. I grew up in a neighborhood here in St. Louis. We actually had a street gang in our neighborhood. And it's all about turf. And if you're stronger and I'm weak, I'm not going to attack. But if you're weak or I perceive weakness, I'll attack, which is what Putin did in that case, went into Syria, went into Crimea, went into Ukraine. So if you're balanced, you don't want to risk what you've got. But if you see weakness, you'll attack, and that's what he did. So I think now he's on notice. It's a different, use the term sheriff in town, and reactions are going to be different on our part.
Let's back up to how we got here, and I want to know what you think about how we got here. So a week ago, several days ago, we've heard that there had been another horrific chemical gas attack in Syria, women and children. I mean, this is genocidal in nature. It involves chemical weapons, which no one's supposed to be using in the world anymore. We hope they don't use any weapons, but definitely not chemical weapons. And President Trump telegraphed that there was going to be a response. And so the week leading up to that, there was all this back and forth in the media. And even some folks on the right were saying this is a bad idea to take any action. We shouldn't. It was a real mixed bag. And it's funny because even there's some Democrats who are fully supporting this action. But of course, they have to attack Donald Trump for other things. So everybody's kind of all over the place on this as to whether we shouldn't, what should we have done, exactly what we do next. Admiral Williams, where do you come down on this? Should we have taken this action in this case?
Yeah, one reason I wanted to talk to you, come down here and talk a little bit about this, is because I've been hearing this argument about dead is dead. Whether you're shot with a gun or you die from chlorine or sarin gas, what's the difference? Dead is dead. Mm-hmm. Well, there is a difference here, and the difference is there's the Geneva Convention that was signed by, I don't know any country that didn't sign it. Iran signed it. Russia signed it. United States signed it. UK signed it. France signed it. Everybody signed it. They'll be banning the use of chemical weapons, and here we now have Assad doing it for the second time. Well, actually, he's done it a few times. I think pretty small, but this time they're able to prove it. But it's a follow-up to what Trump said last year when he said, if you use chemical weapons, that is a red line for him. He attacked with something smaller. This time it was about twice the size. He hit 3 major facilities. One was an R&D facility for chemical warfare. One was a manufacturing plant, and one was a storage facility. Now, you got to realize when you go in with coalition partners, which is the right thing to do,
right?
Coalition partners might have a different idea about what the objective should be. Because I've heard some say, he should have gone a lot further. He should have done a lot more. And frankly, I would like to have seen him take out some of the command and control. But when you've got a coalition partner that says, look, this is as far as I'm willing to go. And I think UK, I've heard the British ambassador to the United Nations talk about this, and her feeling was, we saw the use of chemical weapons as a bridge too far, and we felt we had to do something. So the 3 of the 5 permanent members of the UN, 3 of them, France, United States, and the United Kingdom, took action. The other 2, of course, China, who abstained, and Russia is the one who argued constantly about, during these UN discussions in the last week or so, about not doing anything. There's no proof. It didn't really happen. It's made up. Just a reason to go in. So Russia kept pushing back on this. Finally, there was no more pushback. It was time to act.
So that's the national security interest, the chemical weapon component, because if they can create them somewhere and use them there, they can use them here.
Exactly. That's another point is, I'm not sure people think about this, but if a terrorist within that regime, or he gives it to a terrorist, and they use it on a military base overseas or get into the United States and create a terrorist act, then we pay a price. Also, you got to realize we've got 2,000 to 3,000 people, service members, in Syria.
Right, there's Americans
So what
there.
is the chance of perhaps that being used against our own people in Syria? So there were 3 reasons why: the Geneva Convention, the chance of that getting in the terrorist hands, and third, the safety of our own service members in Syria.
Yeah, that should give everybody pause. Hey, we're going to continue with Admiral Chuck Williams when we come back. He worked on the Missouri Veterans for Trump campaign. He does a lot of consulting work and still is tied in very closely with the White House. He's given us the behind-the-scenes look on some of these decisions. I'm going to ask him when we come back about the Russia component, how that ties in there. What is the deal with Putin and Assad? Why is Assad important to Putin? And then more importantly, where do we go from here? What is the next best step? We're digging into, like I said, some first world problems here tonight on the Tim Jones Show at FM News Talk 97.1.
This is the Tim Jones Show.
This liberal will be all about taking over and the government running all of your companies.
On FM News Talk 97.1. Landenberg Memorial Speaker Series presents Culture and Opportunity in America, a discussion with authors Robert Frank and Charles Murray, hosted by Mark Cox, Tuesday, May 8th at Lindenwood University, sponsored by the Hammond Institute. Get more info at 971talk.com.
You know Diamond's direct prices are unbeatable every day, but this Friday through Sunday, they're even lower. This is it, the biggest store-wide sale all year. You save an extra 20% and more on rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets. Entire designer collections have been flown in for this, with each piece on sale. It doesn't get any better than this. Extraordinary selection, extreme value. It's Diamonds Direct's multi-million-dollar 3-day store-wide sale, Friday through Sunday at Diamonds Direct, Olive and 270 at City Place.
When Dad needed help getting around, I became his driver. Any daughter would do the same. But soon enough, he needed help doing more things, and it was up to me to be his personal shopper and financial manager, too. And before I knew it, Dad moved in with me. So I became his cook, his personal assistant, his physical therapist, and even his nurse. When I started taking care of Dad, I didn't realize all the roles I'd have to play. But no matter what, I know I'm still his daughter.
We understand the many roles you play
And to help, we created an online caregiving resource center. At aarp.org/caregiving, you can find resources and connect with the caregiving community. Together, we can better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving to learn more. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Tim Jones here again for my good friends John Stobbs and Jeannie Seba over at Convergent Wealth Management. You want to make sure your portfolio is protected for the next market downturn because we're having market upturns and market downturns. And you want to go see the good investment advisors over at Convergent Wealth because they're fiduciaries. They choose to be held to a higher standard. And their focus is not just on selling products, but they want to build that long-term relationship with you, like the one they've built with me, which is why I feel so comfortable speaking for them. John Stobbs says he is listening tonight. So they're going to help you do three things. They're going to help you make sure your financial situation is in order, that your insurance situation is in order, and that your tax situation is in order. I hate to tell you this, tax day is Tuesday. Because it fell on a weekend, you get till Tuesday. So if you've done nothing, you might want to call Convergent Wealth Management immediately tomorrow. So 636-536-1800, 636-536-1800. They're going to help you have that holistic approach to all of those three buckets I mentioned. They're there for you definitely in these times of uncertainty and need. Give them a call, 636-536-1800. Tonight you can go to the website. It is a fine one, convergentwm.com. You'll learn that they are wealth for the way.
Hi, this is Savannah Guthrie with an urgent story developing right now in every state and county across America. Despite having more than enough food available in this country, there are nearly 16 million kids, that's 1 in 5 children, struggling with hunger. They often don't even know where their next meal is coming from. And the worst part is, this has been going on for years. There's no excuse for it, and that's why Feeding America is doing its best to put an end to childhood hunger. As a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America engages local communities in solving hunger by collecting surplus food, giving hope to hungry kids and their families all across our nation. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank. You can start by going to feedingamerica.org to learn more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Your week.
A chemical attack.
Your news.
Only a monster
In Syria.
does this.
Every day.
It will be met, and it will be met forcefully. Facebook.
As events happen.
This is his company, and it was my mistake, and I'm sorry.
You'll hear them right here.
I will be retiring in January.
Paul Ryan is a good man.
The FBI broke into the office, one of my personal attorneys.
On FM News Talk 97.1.
Putting his own spin to sell books.
Jim Comey's a liar.
And 971talk.com.
Got a girl from the south side, got braids in her hair. First time I seen her walk by, and I about fell up out my chair.
This is the Tim Jones Show. Call now, 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797.
Body like a back road.
Jeff Allen's gritting his teeth at home right now. Playing some of his favorite bro country for him tonight. Well, we're watching, you're listening to me, and we've got the closed captioning on with the American Country Music Awards. The only award show worth watching, in my opinion. I like all kinds of music, but some of those other shows, it's one big political speech after another. These folks are playing music, enjoying each other's company, and making people laugh and smile.
And loving the music. And
that's what it's supposed to be about. You know, it's supposed to be about entertainment, because sometimes people like to have the escape where they're not. We have enough politics. And hey, I'm someone who's on the radio talking about politics 4 hours a day these days.
Yeah.
On the morning show here at FM News Talk 97.1. I'll be back at 5:10 a.m. That's how much I love talking about politics. But every once in a while, you want to not get beat over the head with it, So.
I'll take it slow.
This is Luke Bryan.
Sorry
He's up for an award today.
You know, Luke Bryan, I did his cake for his birthday.
No.
A full-sized, exact replica of his guitar.
No way, really?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
And his strap, it was a fondant strap that had his name embossed in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're liking this new studio, aren't you?
I'm
There's like
loving
things
it.
to play
Yeah,
with now.
I'm loving it.
Yeah. Yeah. So Admiral Chuck Williams is here in our new overly opulent, ostentatious studios. So Chuck, what do you think? You like the new spread here?
Yeah, it's easier to get in and out of than the other place was. It's just a cleaner. It's newer. Anytime something's new, you go into it.
Yeah, it's fresh.
It's kind of exciting. It's fresh. It's a change. Yeah. And I think it's all cool.
Well, thanks for finding us tonight. So in the last segment, I played some Nikki Haley sound for us, and that woman continues to impress me. I'm so happy she is where she is right now, and kudos to President Trump for putting her in that position. Again, another first, right? I mean, I believe is she the first or maybe the second female? She's the first Indian American ambassador, right?
Yeah,
she's the first Indian American.
Was it Fitzpatrick or Kirkpatrick? Worked under Reagan, was a UN ambassador back in the 80s. I think her name was Kirkpatrick. I could be wrong on that.
And I did see another first the other day. I can't remember exactly the title, but I believe President Trump just installed the first African-American female in a very important military role.
Yeah, she's going to be a general, a Marine general, and I think that's the first for the Marine Corps, African-American female general.
Yeah. Headlines that the media does not print, Yeah,
and I forget the name. The gal was President Obama's ambassador to the UN, female, and I can't think of her name.
Susan Rice?
No, she was national security.
That's right. I know you're thinking about. Anyway.
Yeah, I can picture her, but I can't think of her name right now.
So you were explaining to us in the break, and it was fascinating. Ken and I enjoyed that discussion, so we want the listeners to partake as well.
Yeah.
What is the importance of Syria and Assad to Putin?
Well, one of the things he didn't have a seaport outside his own country. And now that he has one in Syria and Tortoise, he keeps about 11 ships there. In fact, it's funny because
Putin does.
Yes. He just actually put those 11 ships to sea when Trump came out and said, be ready, Mr. Putin. I'm going to send some shiny new missiles your way. And those ships went to sea to get out of the port, so he didn't end up looking like Pearl Harbor over there. But before, he's in the Black Sea, and to travel from the Black Sea through the Bosporus Strait into the Med, then down into through the Red Sea, Suez Canal, Red Sea, and then go down to the IO and up in the Persian Gulf.
Yeah.
Now he's actually in the Med. He's got a port there that he can use as a logistics base, and he's got access and presence, much more presence now throughout that part of the region.
And Assad likes the cash coming in, I'm sure.
Well, it's a leased port, so I'm sure Assad gets some financial support, but he's also got the military, a large Navy force stationed right there to support him.
And the other piece of news you gave us was that we are sending some more hardware over there as well. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's the other point I wanted to make, that I hear on the news things like, Trump said he's going to sustain the military effort, and Secretary of Defense Mattis said it's a one-off, mission accomplished, we did what we said we were going to do. And now we've got a disconnect between the White House and the Pentagon. That's not true. What President Trump said was, I'm going to be prepared to sustain a military effort. And then he added diplomatically, economically, but he used the word militarily. So the carrier strike group, the Truman Strike Group, with 7 ships, left Norfolk. It's on its way to the Med. And we haven't had a carrier strike group for any length of time in the Med. We used to keep 2 of them over there. Now we don't have any presence. So the Truman Strike Group will be in the Eastern Med, potentially targeting Syria if something else goes wrong. So there will be a military presence. And that was missed, and I think that's important. When he said we will be prepared to sustain, that's what he meant. I'll have ships on scene, and I'll have aviation assets there as well.
How does ISIS, Al-Qaeda, whoever the troublemakers are currently over there, how do they figure into all of this? What is their part that they're playing? What do we have to be worried about if we're taking action over there?
Well, it's an ideology. They wanted to establish a caliphate. We hadn't had a caliphate since the Ottoman Empire that ran from around 1400 to the end of World War I. And during that caliphate, they had conquered about 28 countries, the Ottoman Empire. It was a big deal. And this guy, al-Baghdadi, the leader of ISIS, that was his vision, another caliphate, and taking care of taking control of all these, of several of these countries. But they're pretty much gone in Syria. There's still some. They're still fighting. We're still with the Kurds fighting. I don't think you'll ever see that caliphate come to fruition because of al-Baghdadi, but there's still some more. And actually, I talked to General Mattis back in at the White House at an event late in December, and we were talking a little bit about inflicting pain, if you will, on ISIS, trying to destroy ISIS, how important it was, and the effort that's being made.
Another thing, another success of this presidency that gets very little airplay in the mainstream media. Right? I mean, they've really been pushed back, ISIS has, on their heels.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I mean, they're not gone, but they've been pushed back.
They had a large presence in Iraq. They had a large presence in Syria. In fact, when we went back into Iraq, a lot of them moved over into Syria. And there's about 1,200 of them, I'm told, that are in Afghanistan, which is part of the fight. You know, President Trump doesn't want to get into nation building. He doesn't want to be involved in a civil war. And we're in one in Afghanistan.
Right.
And I don't think it's going – I mean, we're doing okay, but – I don't see us getting out anytime soon. The hope that I saw, and again, what I see for what President Trump wants to do, they say he has no strategy for Syria. I think he does. I think a strategy is I want to destroy ISIS because they're a threat to our homeland, to our allies. So I want them gone. And once that's done, I don't want to be a member. I don't want to participate in a civil war and rebuild Syria. So that really is his strategy: destroy ISIS and then leave. And I think he'd like to do it, frankly, in Afghanistan. But I think his military leaders went to him in Afghanistan several months ago and said, we spent a lot of money and a lot of blood in Afghanistan, and to turn around and leave without that mission being accomplished, it doesn't sit well with a lot of military guys who sacrificed over there. So there's a desire to try and make that country functional and get rid of the Taliban, and at least get them to the table to negotiate. But it seems to be a long road for us right now.
Yeah, it's yet another issue where the media has been wrong. You know, they say that they said that the America First theme of President Trump mean we would isolate ourselves from the world. Well, this has been anything but an isolationist weekend. You know, it's just they don't understand this president because they can't put him in a box, and that's the beauty of him. I think this is a new era. This is a new dawn. This is the era of America First again. You're seeing it in our economy. You're seeing it in the international scene as well.
Somebody online on YouTube checking in. They wanted to. I haven't given up, but I'm severely worried about the Syria thing. Is there proof that Assad really was responsible for the gassings?
Yeah, I should have asked you that question in the beginning. So,
thanks, Bill.
Yeah, exactly. Bill, thanks for listening on YouTube. We have a lot of people listening on Twitter, YouTube, online, whatever, because it's Sunday night. They're kicked back. Admiral, what about that concern that there's again discussion of there was the discussion of should we go in or not? There's also the discussion of was this Assad or not? What can you say to folks who are worried about that?
Well, I don't get intelligence briefings anymore. I just get a daily report of
right.
some things
So we're not going to hold you.
Not
going to hold you to the wall on this, but
I'm convinced that they wouldn't have gone through this if they didn't have some evidence, didn't believe it was from Assad. I mean, we've got satellites up there. We track almost every air asset in Syria when it leaves, where it's going, where it's from, where it lands. And for them, the only way they could really do this is to drop a barrel bomb with this chemical.
Yeah. So who has the ability to even do that?
Yeah.
Right.
So and he's got, I forget how many helicopters now, but so he launches. We track this. We see these helicopters, the movement. We see some kind of launch. Maybe we're not there to detect if it was sarin or chlorine when it was in that barrel, but we're certainly there to see the asset go up and drop something, and then go on the ground and inspect. And realize, this is chlorine and maybe sarin. They're still trying to determine if it's sarin was
You can
included.
see the after effects, that's for sure. That's a chemical attack, right? And then you got to ask yourself, if not Assad, then who? And who has the ability? Every mujahideen over there on a camel doesn't have the ability to drop a bomb. I mean, they all may want to, but there's only a few people that do, right?
Yeah, I mean, who would the players be? I mean, Turkey?
Okay.
No, they're not going to do it. They only care about the northern end, which is on their border. Iran? They're not. Why would they do it? Russia, they're not going to go drop a chemical bomb or chemical.
Yeah, that's a great way to start World War III.
Yeah, chemical warfare. The United States isn't going to do it. I mean, you kind of narrow down and say, well, let's get real. Okay, who are the people? And again, if we're tracking these air assets and we've seen air assets go over there and something's dropped, I think it's pretty conclusive, but they know a whole lot more than I do.
Well, yeah, but that's great circumstantial evidence I think you gave our listener there, so we appreciate that very much. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. We'll finish up with Admiral Chuck Williams on the backside, and then I'll wrap up the show for all you all. Thanks so much for listening to us tonight here on FM News Talk 97.1.
The Tim Jones Show.
Stop the hammering out there. Who's got a hammer? Where is it? Stop the hammering. Stop the hammering.
On FM News Talk 97.1.
My lips on her.
Mark Cox here. The Maryland Heights Police Officers Association and 97.1 are teaming up again for a charity golf tournament to benefit the Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital. Play around for the kids on Monday, June 4th at the Golf Club of Florissant and help children in need. Entry includes food and drink and dinner following that tournament. This will sell out early, so get your team together now. Sponsorship and donation opportunities are also available. Get all the details on 971talk.com and let's help the kids at the Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital.
Never paint again. Seriously. Who wants to paint anyways? Rhino Shield would love to paint your home, business, or church for the last time. You know, when it's not raining. Water and sun are the two most damaging villains against your home's defense for chipping, cracking, peeling, and rot. Our permanent ceramic coating locks out 100% of the moisture, 90% of the sun's UV rays, and we back it up with a 25-year transferable warranty. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. See why we are rapidly becoming your neighbor's go-to solution for cracks, splits, nail pops, and just bad color schemes. Now's the time to be smart to save time and money. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
The Mark Cox Show.
Monday, we'll talk to John Malcolm from Heritage about the DOJ report on Andrew McCabe. Plus, will the president re-enter the Trans-Pacific Partnership?
Now, weekdays noon to 3 on FM News Talk 97.1.
This hour of the Tim Jones Show is brought to you by Convergent Wealth Management, your lifelong financial advocate. ConvergentWM.com.
This is the Tim Jones Show Call now, 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797.
Ken, you know who the lead singer of this is?
No.
You'll know as soon as he starts singing. This is Angels and Airwaves. You'll know who. Here he goes. Oh, not yet. I jumped it.
No, I don't know why, but I think I pulled up the instrumental version of the song.
Oh, did you?
I don't know, maybe, because it seems like by now they would have had the vocals going.
Yeah. There he is. Here he is. You know who that is, right?
White.
Blink 182.
Really?
Yeah.
How cool.
I'm not sure which one he is, but that's him.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a new project of his called Angels and Airwaves. It's called The Adventure.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
It's actually throwback if you think about it. It's modern throwback because
it's awesome.
It has tones of the 80s in it.
I just discovered it the other day, so played it on the morning show. Huh. So Reba McEntire is 63 years old. You wouldn't know it.
Never. No.
Yeah. She's there's a great article I found tonight. They of course they were asking her if she was going to start off her award show that she's hosting tonight. Reba's hosting the ACMs, the American Country Music Awards, and they said, "Are you going to make a political statement in the beginning like everybody else does?" She's like, these are about having fun. She said, kind of like what I was saying earlier. We discuss politics all day, every day. Almost we do it 24/7 now, 7 days a week. She goes, just give us a couple hours to celebrate the people in our industry and tell them thank you. And I'm like, go Reba.
Wow, who are the grown-ups in the room now?
Yeah, no kidding. So, hey, we're continuing with one of my favorite grown-ups, Admiral Chuck Williams.
Admiral Chuck.
So, Admiral Chuck, can you believe? I was just thinking the other day, I was at an event with you. We were up on a tank down in Fenton, Missouri at the parking lot.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was like almost 2 years ago.
500 people out there cheering on.
Waving flags, honking at us.
Motorcyclists. Yeah. Several motorcyclists were there.
Can you believe that was almost 2 years ago? Wow. That campaign went on forever. You did a lot of work on that, and I was happy to help you out. And thank you for all the service you've given our country and all the service you continue to give our country, because you're still in the game, as they say. So we thank you. And thanks for being here tonight on a Sunday. So I was going to ask you about, what the heck was I going to ask you? About what?
Oh, no, I have Bernie ready whenever you're ready.
Oh, yeah. I'll play that in a second. I was going to ask you about, I was going to move you to North Korea because, it's funny because, and I guess we're all guilty of it to an extent, but the media, the mainstream media is really guilty of it. They can only watch one shiny bouncing ball at a time. And, with Stormy Daniels and Robert Mueller and James Comey and Syria, what do we, they're like, this is way too much for them to handle. So they've completely forgotten that there's this little country in the world called North Korea, the Hermit Kingdom, run by a complete madman, or maybe he's not, who's trying to develop nuclear weapons. So in the meantime, Admiral Chuck, North Korea is not they don't hit the pause button and wait for us to get back to them, do they?
No, although there's an exercise that either just finished or it's just going to be starting. It goes on about this time every year. And it's going to be a little bit smaller, I think, to kind of say, hey, we realize here that there's an opportunity, and so let's try and, build a little relationship here maybe before we all sit down. Also, Kim Jong-un met with Xi Jinping here recently, and the question is, did Xi Jinping, the Chinese leader, say, come up here and see me, or did Kim Jong-un say, before I meet with President Trump, I'd like to come up and talk to you? I don't know which way it went, but I'm sure there was a lot said, and a lot was said about, look, because China doesn't want a nuclearized peninsula either. They want to denuclearize, so they want him to get rid of his nuclear capability. And frankly, those bombs that they've tested, those nuclear bombs, they're 100 miles from the Chinese border. So the Chinese do not want to see that go on. So I think it's promising, but this is all about credibility. So if President Trump, who said he was going to react in this Syria thing and didn't react, then it would have sent a different message to Iran, to Russia, to Putin, to Kim Jong-un, and to China.
That's a great point, because
this message is a whole lot different. So Kim Jong-un says, well, it's more of a pinprick, but I don't want to get stuck. So I think he's saying, okay, this guy will fire. Because to launch a weapon into a sovereign state is not a decision made lightly.
Much less 105 of them.
Yeah, plus 105, and taking out certain targets and knowing that
I remember the point.
Took out
yeah, I remember the point I wanted. So the French, the Brits, and us all say this was a very successful raid, over 100 missiles fired, and you made a point in the break. How many casualties out of 100 and some odd on the surgical strike?
I've been trying to look for some kind of number, and the only thing I have seen, there were 3 Syrians that Syria reported. Now, could there be more? Could that be an erroneous number? I don't know, but what I did see was 3. But this happened at 4 in the morning, so intentionally they did this.
Intentionally
early in the morning,
surgical.
so you wouldn't have a whole lot of people milling about in office buildings, walking the streets. They'd be in their homes. And the precision with these weapons, I mean, you can, when they target these, you're talking about inches or a couple of feet from where that intended target, where it is and where it lands.
Yeah, President Donald Trump knows exactly what he's doing, and that's, I think, what scares the media probably the most, is that he has a plan here. And that's a very good point, is that you know that all of the other wannabe dictators and actual dictators around the world saw that this weekend and went, oh, this guy is serious when he says, I have a red line. You know, I'm not just going to keep saying I'm going to take action. I'm going to take action.
He's not afraid. He's serious when he decides to launch, and he doesn't do it lightly. He gives a lot of thought to it, brings a lot of people around, listens to their positions, makes a decision. But what he's showing is, I'm not afraid to confront, to attack if I think it's necessary and in the best interest of the United States and its allies.
One final question for you, then I'll let you go. If you were advising the president right now, what would you tell him about what should be on our menu of next steps with Syria? What's the possibilities that we should pursue?
Well, you're asking me.
Just your personal opinion,
because he's going to get a lot of
he's going to get a lot of them.
Sure. And people are up to speed on everything. I agree with. I don't want to get involved in a civil war. We've done this before. Vietnam was a civil war. You got to be able to pick your ally, and who's your ally over there that's going to fight just as hard as you're fighting. And we're seeing it in Afghanistan, a civil war. Are they fighting as hard as we're fighting? I mean, they've gotten a whole lot better, but that's the kind of thing you just don't want to get bogged down in another civil war. And I can tell you, Secretary of Defense Mattis doesn't want to get bogged down in another civil war and then end up rebuilding that nation, spending all that money, the loss of life, the injuries that happen, potential POWs. It's just a bad deal all the way around. And but he can't walk away if there are certain atrocities being committed that go beyond his sense of fair play, his sense of what is right.
Absolutely. Let me call it. We got a caller here on this. Call it Rick. Let's see what Rick has to say. Rick, good evening. Welcome to the Tim Jones Show.
Hey, good evening. I just was noticing some of the things he was saying. He's been pretty good on target, but he maybe leaving out a little. But plus, I do got experience with some of that stuff myself.
Oh.
And that, yeah, because I saw the signs of it when we were over there in Iraq. I was up around Turkey and I can't think of the other place up in Iraq right off the bat. But anyway, yeah, and talking with the locals there, did have one of them in the hierarchy show me some pictures of the chemical attack, and that wasn't from Iran. That was from Saddam Hussein over there in Iraq.
Right. Yeah, Rick. It's nothing to be trifled with. That's for sure. That's for sure. Hey, Rick, thanks for checking in with us tonight. We appreciate it.
Hey, Tim, you got time for one more comment?
Yeah. Go right ahead.
Okay. You were asking me what advice I might give the president if I had that opportunity to sit down with him. Another thing I would say, back in the 70s, early 80s, there was a civil war that took place in Lebanon. Our ambassador, the economic advisor for the ambassador of the United States to Lebanon, were killed. And so other people had been injured, and so we had to do what they call a non-combatant evacuation operation.
Okay.
Our ship, I participated in planning. I was on the air wing staff. I was on an aircraft carrier. We got these Americans there we got them out. But at the end of that, it wasn't a place the United States wanted to get involved in a civil war. The Arab League, I mean, that's their world. That's their sandbox, if you will, they play in over there. Let the Arab Deterrent League, or the Arab League, set up a deterrent force like they did in the 70s and early 80s with Lebanon, and do the same thing in Syria as a way to try and bring some peacekeeping, to bring that thing to some kind of peaceful solution. I think you let the Arabs do it. let the United States get out, and that would be the advice I would give.
Yeah, time for them to step up, because we don't want to be the world's policeman, but we do want to intervene when we are at risk, when our national security and interests are at risk. So, great way to wrap that up. Admiral Chuck Williams, thank you so much for coming in tonight. We will have you back the next time the missiles fly, and hopefully they never do again. But it's a dangerous world, and you helped really explain a lot of it to us. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. So I want to leave you with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders. This caught my attention this week. Old Bernie was out there showing you absolutely how far to the left your Democratic Party has become.
A few years ago in the Senate, I introduced a Medicare for All bill, had 0 co-sponsors. This time, we have 16 co-sponsors. In other words, what was once considered radical is now mainstream.
Wow. Yeah. Bernie's a moderate in the Democratic Party.
That is the best poster boy for us to use to welcome people to the Republican Party. And I always tell my Democratic friends, some of whom are not left-wing lunatics, your party's left you. And I know that for a fact because there used to be a bunch of conservative Democrats here in the state of Missouri. They're gone. You know what? You know why? Because they're voting Republican now. And that's happened across the country, where the left-wing lunatics are really limited to the coasts and some of these really thick, dark blue urban areas. And you look at that county-by-county map of the United States, it's red from sea to shining sea.
Yep.
And these people in the cities, I'm sorry, you're brainwashed. You need to stop listening to your leadership that has failed you. We get into that whole subject on a different day. Hey, thank you all so much for your support this week. Thanks for being with us here tonight. Thanks, Rick, for calling in. Thank you to Admiral Chuck. Thank you to Burgess Owens. Andrew, man in the phones. Ken, as always, man, beautiful work.
Thanks,
you make me sound brilliant. When my wife would say, well, I know Ken's doing all that magic for you. So. Right. Oh, man. Mom and Dad, thanks so much. Without you, I would not be here behind this microphone. Katie, Suzanne, Abby, ladies, I love you. I'll be home soon. Catch us next Saturday at View 17, the Burgess Owens event. I'll be back tomorrow morning, the morning show, here at KFTK FM News Talk 97.1, 5 a.m. out of the gates.
The Tim Jones Show.
I have smelled alcohol in your breath. Anything else?
No. Besides my beds.
On FM News Talk 97.1.
Zero Res, carpet cleaning and furniture cleaning. So here's the deal. I met them a couple years ago, and I thought that they were a great company. I talked to Michael, the CEO. He's a fellow lawyer who didn't want to be an attorney and decided way back in law school that he was going to go into the carpet cleaning business. And part of it, quite frankly, just being brutally honest, is that most carpet cleaning businesses suck. You know this because you're a smart human being alive on the planet Earth. So Zero Res is the best. They're very professional. The people are non-scary. They do a really great job of explaining their process of actually just scrubbing your carpets and your furniture, and they do it at the lowest cost. If you mention me, you can get 3 rooms starting at just $129. Call 314-474-2020. That's 314-474-2020, or go online, ZeroResSTL.com. Mention the show for the best deal, ZeroResSTL.com.
I'm in almost every school bus and classroom. I go to school with your children. We say the Pledge of Allegiance together. You see me around the neighborhood and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm 1 out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger. This problem is closer than you think. My teacher tells me we can grow up to be whatever we want. I want to grow up to be someone who doesn't go to bed hungry. There's enough food in this country to feed everybody. Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help. Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we are Feeding America. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
I love being a part of the Action Team. It helps me help other people. It helps me feel good.
Being a part of the team always feels good. Go for it. Don't even hesitate.
For more than a decade, Major League Baseball players and action teams of high school students have been working together to train and inspire the next generation of volunteers.
once you get there and realize how much you can change someone's life, it's one of the best feelings in the world.
Just that simple act that takes 5 or 10 minutes of your time is making a difference and is transforming someone else's life.
All-stars Giancarlo Stanton and Chris Capuano join Action Team captains to make a difference in their communities. And you can too.
Just try it. Just go to one event, one Action Team event.
If we all show up together, that's what it's all about. It's not just one person, it's a group, it's a team.
It's been incredibly rewarding for me. It'll just make you feel so good about yourself.
I'd do anything to convince you just to be a part of this.
KFTK FM, Florissant. KFTK AM, East St. Louis. K254CR, St. Louis.
Powered by thehomeloanexpert.com.
FM News Talk, 97.1.
There are more sanctions on the way. I'm Paul Stevens, Fox News. Just days after military strikes against chemical weapons positions in Syria, the U.S. now planning to hit Russia with new sanctions for supporting the Assad regime.
They will go directly to any sort of companies that were dealing with equipment related to Assad and chemical weapons use. And so I think everyone is going to feel it at this point. I think everyone knows that we sent a strong message, and our hope is that they listen to it.
U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley on Fox News Sunday. Meantime, some critics of Friday night's missile strike saying President Trump should have gotten an okay from Congress in the first place. Virginia Democratic Senator Tim Kaine.
It's not just about the Constitution, it's about the value underlying the Constitution. The framers basically said, if we're going to order our troops to risk their lives, put them in a situation where they can kill others, be killed or wounded themselves, then there has to be a debate and a vote by Congress to say this is in the national interest.
Senator Kaine appearing on CBS's Face the Nation. A family spokesperson saying former First Lady Barbara Bush is now in failing health and will not seek any more medical treatments.
The treatment for the 92-year-old will now focus on what's being called comfort care, as the former First Lady has reportedly suffered from a series of hospitalizations for lung disease and congestive heart failure. She married former President George H.W. Bush back in 1945. They have been married longer than any other presidential couple in American history.
That's Fox's Tom Graham. Rough weather continuing in parts of the U.S. The city of Greensboro, North Carolina, suffering major damage in several locations from a confirmed tornado. A local state of emergency declared from Guilford County due to tornado damage. There's one storm-related fatality confirmed in Greensboro. Guilford County and the city of Greensboro emergency operations are currently conducting damage assessments. You're listening to Fox News, fair and balanced.
On the next episode of Recipes for Disaster.
So we've got our neighbor Paul coming over tonight for a barbecue, which is why I prepared a delicious lemon rosemary steak marinade from my special collection of old family recipes. To make sure the steaks are extra tender, I left them marinating out on the counter overnight, just like Nana used to.
Maria may mean well, but without food safety, it never ends well. Always thaw or marinate foods in the refrigerator at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or below, or you could make your friends and family really sick. Maria's neighbor Paul didn't think twice about the steak he ate until he was presenting his company's financial forecast to the board. That's when a sudden bout of food poisoning made it explicitly clear that profits weren't the only thing on the rise. Watch Recipes for Disaster at foodsafety.gov. You'll learn the right steps as Maria does everything wrong. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
Officials in Massachusetts getting set for tomorrow's 122nd Boston Marathon.
Surveillance drones, bomb-sniffing dogs, and aircraft equipped with technology that can detect dirty bombs are just some of the things being utilized to keep the Boston Marathon runners and spectators safe. More than 70 agencies are involved in securing the race course, including Boston Police, State Police, and the FBI.
Our number one goal is to ensure a fun and safe day for you and your families. And we are laser focused on finding and stopping any potential threat to this year's event.
That's FBI Special Agent in Charge Hank Shaw. The race happens across 8 cities and towns and will include 7,000 to 8,000 plainclothes officers. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Members of Congress waiting for the next step after a new report from the Justice Department's Inspector General was critical of former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe.
The Department of Justice should pursue the truth wherever it leads them and should draw the appropriate conclusions about whether or not Mr. McCabe committed perjury or violated some other law that requires the action be taken in that regard.
Virginia GOP Congressman Bob Goodlatte on Fox's Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo. A big night for Miranda Lambert.
Hey there, Mr. Tin Man. You don't know how lucky you are.
That song, Tin Man, winning Song of the Year at the Academy of Country Music Awards. With that win, Lambert becoming the most awarded artist in ACM history with 30 titles. She was previously tied for the record with Brooks and Dunn. Rain halts today's NASCAR Food City 500 at the track in Bristol, Tennessee. Drivers got a bit over 200 laps in before NASCAR hit the brakes after 4 red flags as well. The race concludes Monday. Kyle Larson leading and 296 laps left to go. I'm Paul Stevens, Fox News Radio.
You're retiring in the next 5 years. We need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, First Vice President Investments with Stifel and host of On the Money, heard every Saturday from 11 till noon on FM News Talk 97.1. Retirement is a huge step, and when it comes to investing your retirement assets, you can't afford to make mistakes. It's vitally important that you work with an experienced professional to guide you through important retirement decisions. If you're retiring soon, we should meet to develop a clear plan for your retirement goals. Your meeting is an opportunity to understand your retirement situation and discuss how you can proceed. Of course, your consultation is free of charge and requires no obligation on your part. If you're retiring in the next 5 years, now is the time to start planning. To schedule your free retirement plan review, visit bobstockdale.com or call me at 636-448-7655. That's bobstockdale.com or 636-448-7655. Stifel, member FINRA, SIPC, and NYSE.
FM News Talk 97.1. Willie.
Brought to you by Choice Hotels. Econo Lodge and Roadway Inn hotels are serving up double points for every qualifying stay. Book at choicehotels.com. Now, here's the man who's been recognized as radio's best, the recipient of not one but 2 prestigious Marconi Awards for his broadcast excellence, the one and only Bill Cunningham.
Billy Cunningham, the great American. As we speak, of course, James Comey is doing the Stephanopoulos interview right now. And the excerpts have been leaked or given to the media that seems to indicate the big news might be that he's saying tonight that President Barack Hussein Obama and Loretta Lynch both jeopardized the Clinton email probe. If you want to see the story, check out Drudge Report right now. And essentially, Comey accuses President Obama and Loretta Lynch of giving public statements about the email probe that put him under pressure to get a certain result. You might recall also that about 5 months before that July 5th set her free news conference by Comey, he did essentially the same thing. He wrote a memorandum or a report that said that there's no criminal violation here. Despite carelessness and recklessness, there's no criminal investigation. So essentially, Comey is accusing President Obama of engaging in his behavior, which is prejudging the matter. Of course, Comey had strictly prejudged the matter. You can't tell me that if subpoenaed materials are bleach-bitted, hit by hammers, and destroyed by the subject of the investigation by the United States Congress, that's not a criminal violation. It is obstruction of justice. But Comey twisted himself into a pretzel to make sure that he did not criminally charge Hillary or Uma Abedin or Cheryl Mills, all the other Clintonistas around Hillary, because he said tonight, I assume she was the next president, and the American people should make that decision, not me. And so, oddly enough, according to Hillary Clinton, Comey cost her the White House. Comey, according to Hillary, cost Hillary the White House. He also said tonight, opening up tonight, Comey said that Trump is a mobster, like Gambino. a Gambino mobster, one of the godfathers in New York and New Jersey, kill large numbers of people, run prostitution rings, deal drugs, and do illegal gambling and other activities, burglaries, robberies, arsons, all the rest. And so Comey, having been accused by Hillary of costing her the election, is now accusing the president of being a mobster, which is a killer, a rapist, a robber, an arsonist, and more. It's an incredible thing to watch what's happening in my country as we speak. And earlier yesterday, I watched the comments of one John Brennan, who was head of the CIA. And of course, I've watched the other Clintonistas talk over the last several months about what happened in the CIA, the FBI, and the defense intelligence industry. The three of them, the most powerful men of the FBI, the CIA, and the defense intelligence industries, have all said things that they should not be saying publicly whatsoever. A book by FBI Director Comey, which is coming out day after tomorrow, the hyperbolic John Brennan, and other sound bites reveal how much hubris and vitriol they had toward the Republican Party and toward Trump. I would think even if you're a Democrat, even if you believe in that kind of stuff, we cannot have presidential elections being determined by FISA courts. It's an incredible thing to think about what actually happened in this case. The Clinton administration paid for the dossier that was used as an affidavit to get a FISA warrant to eavesdrop on the campaign of the Republican Donald J. Trump. And that by itself is a constitutional crisis. I've heard a long time about how it's a constitutional crisis if Trump would let Rosenstein go or let Comey or let Mueller go. That would not be the crisis. What's happened that we know about is a constitutional crisis. When a Democratic Party in charge of the Department of Justice and in charge of the FBI pay for a dossier used as the basis to get a FISA warrant to eavesdrop on the other guy's campaign. That is a constitutional crisis right there by definition, but the media, of course, does not cover it that way. Unlike a murder or a burglary or robbery or a rape, where there is a specific trail of facts that can be investigated, the Russian collusion delusion is an allegation that can never be disproved. The accusation itself allowed special counsel Robert Mueller to investigate the entirety of the Trump campaign, the Trump transition, and the Trump presidency, seeking to see if a crime took place. Every aspect of the transition involving interviewing about 28 White House aides and hundreds of others. The special counsel, Robert Mueller, has looked at every business transaction with Russians or other foreigners, and after all this, collusion did not exist. But much like the Clinton campaign that began with Whitewater ended up with a blue dress. This has now developed into a full repeat of the 1998 investigation by Ken Starr, bleeding over to the personal life of the president. In Clinton's case, Clinton was a crook and didn't have any financial acumen whatsoever. It always dealt with trying to convince the world that having sexual relations with a bunch of women in and around the White House and in the governor's mansion in Arkansas was worthy of public comment. And so what happened in that case, in order to hide the truth about his sex with numerous women, including sexual assaults Clinton committed in the White House, he lied under oath to conceal the affair. Unlike in this case, to my knowledge, there's no sex the past 15 months happening in the White House. But you have a multi-billionaire who's been involved literally in hundreds of businesses. And currently, Trump says he owns all or part or involvements with 500 separate businesses now. And so when you have warrants and surveillance and eavesdropping on all these transition team members and all the emails and all the texts, by the way, Trump himself does not email. You have a circumstance where it begins in one place and ends in another. And it goes on and on. And what's going to happen tomorrow is that Trump's lawyer has been ordered by a New York State judge to come before her in order to talk about the circumstances of who are the clients of Michael Cohen, the president's lawyer, and who is not. And so that means Cohen tomorrow is going to face Stormy Daniels. Can you tell me, with missiles flying around Syria, with terrible problems we have with ISIS and 50 state investigations, with human trafficking happening on a scale unprecedented, at least in the last 50 years in America, where there's about 100,000 victims of human trafficking happening right now as I speak. The FBI has serious problems with fentanyl and carfentanil coming into America in tractor-trailer-size loads from communist Red China. And we have not enough law enforcement to handle all the drug dealing, MS-13, the ISIS investigation, the fentanyl, the carfentanil. That there's large numbers of FBI agents investigating a payment of $130,000, seemingly from Michael Cohen to Stormy Daniels, and whether or not that's a campaign law violation when there's 170 Americans dying every day of heroin overdoses and 1 to 200,000 boys and girls being human trafficked, and ISIS investigations in 50 states. And we have an FBI unconcerned with those issues while going after this president directly and indirectly to eliminate him from office. Look at it this way. Paul Manafort and Rick Gates were thoroughly investigated 8 to 10 years ago, and nothing came of that. But when Manafort became the president's campaign manager, when he came on board, it was the opportunity at that point by the FBI to use, by any means necessary, the pressure sufficient to have Manafort flip on Trump. The investigation of Manafort years ago resulted in nothing. But when Paul became the campaign manager, then the FBI and the Department of Justice cared about that greatly. To give you another example, Fusion GPS and the Christopher Steele dossier, millions of dollars were paid by the Clinton campaign to develop lies about Trump and Russia. And that money was laundered through a law firm, the Perkins Cole law firm. Now that's millions of dollars used by the Clinton campaign, wire fraud, money laundering, etc., in order to get the money, get the cash to Christopher Steele and Fusion GPS to serve as the basis for a FISA warrant. Why isn't that being investigated? Isn't that much more important, a lot more important, than the $140,000 paid to a porn star? Of course. But everything happening with Michael Cohen and Rick Gates and Paul Manafort and General Flynn is all enveloped in a way to develop testimony against the president to eliminate him from office, to get rid of 45. Remember, impeach 45, impeach 45. So Mueller and the Clintonistas are after not Rick Gates or Paul Manafort. They're not after Michael Cohen. They're after the president. I said it last Sunday night when I was with you, and I'll say it again. Sometime in the next 30 to 45 days, Michael Cohen, the president's lawyer, will be indicted with enough counts to put him in prison the rest of his life. And much like General Flynn, when the feds come after you with hooks, lines, and sinkers, they will get you for something. Show me the man, and I'll show you a crime, no matter who it is. And in Trump's case, when you're involved in hundreds of businesses with thousands of forms, at some point, you have violated some aspect of disclosure or giving false statements on a bank financial statement or not filing the right forms in some state office. I guarantee you the president at some point has engaged in behavior that can be twisted into a felony offense. So and it's so unusual. We finally have a president that is fighting Syria. We finally have a president shutting down the southern border. We finally have a president appointing conservative federal judges. But the swamp in Washington will have none of it. They're coming after Trump with hooks and claws. And Comey's interview tonight in the book, which is coming out on Tuesday,